Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Avery, and we're sophomores on the swim team.
Because of COVID, we couldn't bring you through a day in our life, but we made a video inspired by the 75 questions by Vogue on YouTube.
Let's go. Hi Rachel, how are you doing today?
Hi, Avery. I'm good. How are you?
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Rachel. I'm a sophomore on the swim team. I'm planning on majoring in English and public policy and law. I am a mid-distance freestyler, and I'm a part of Conperg on campus.
Beautiful. Do you want to maybe show me around a little bit?
I'd love to. Let's go.
All right, let's go. So Rachel, what are you passionate about?
Right now with Conperg, we're doing a lot for voter registration. So I'd say I'm really passionate about student activism.
Oh, that's super fun.
Yeah.
So why did you choose Trinity?
I chose Trinity because of a good blend of both academics and athletics.
Are you happy that you chose Trinity?
I'm really happy I chose Trinity.
Yay!
Yeah.
What would you say a typical student at Trinity is like?
I'd say a typical Trinity student is really hardworking, but also likes to have fun with their friends. So they're both very social and motivated.
Oh. If you could choose a song to describe your college experience, what would you choose?
I would choose All Night Longer by Sammy Adams, because he actually went here. He went to Trinity.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Trinity?
I would have to say that my favorite thing about Trinity is the swim team, just because of how inclusive of an environment it is.
I agree. What Trinity stereotype kind of holds true?
I would say there are a lot of people from New England that attend school here. So that is definitely a stereotype. The most people are from Connecticut or Massachusetts, but there are still a lot of people that are from across the country or international students. So I'd say it holds true in that way, but it also isn't always the case.
Very nice. Can you rate your dining hall experiences from 1 to 10?
I would have to say about a 6 or a 7. We usually go to the main dining hall on campus, which is Mather. I'd have to give it a 6 or a 7.
Very nice. What's the best dining hall on campus?
I'd have to say the best dining hall is the Bistro, which is right here actually. I just changed my meal plan this year to be on the 15-5 flex plan. So I have 10 meals at Mather and then 5 at the Bistro weekly. So it's convenient because it's right by our dorm, high rise, which is right there.
What is the worst thing you've eaten at the dining hall?
One time this year, I accidentally ate a piece of non-gluten-free bread and I have celiac disease, so that'd probably have to be my worst dining hall experience, considering I got very sick afterwards.
So what's the go-to place on campus for late night snacks?
Last year I'd have to say the best place to go would be the Cave, which is actually underneath Mather. But this year it's closed just because of COVID, but it should be either reopened in the spring or fall of next year.
Very, very cool. So can you tell me a little bit about the clubs you're involved on campus?
Yeah, so Conperg is a student-run, student-funded nonprofit that works on student issues like voter registration, our zero waste campaign, Save the Bees, and open educational resources. So I'm the vice chapter chair, and this semester our primary campaign is the New Voters Project. So we're trying to get as many students within the NESCAC and within the Trinity community to be registered as possible.
That's amazing, Rachel.
Yeah.
So who is your ride or die on campus?
I'd have to say Avery. You are my ride or die on campus. I'm so happy to be rooming with you this year, and I really feel like I can go to you about anything. So.
Wow, thanks,
I love
Rachel.
you.
So, is there Greek life on campus?
Yeah, there is. So there's both sororities and fraternities, but they are a pretty small part of college life, I'd say.
Very, very nice. Are you involved in any Greek life?
No, I'm not.
Oh. If you aren't in one, have you experienced any FOMO?
I'd say no, just because it is such a small part of campus life. sometimes there will be like social gatherings on the weekends at either fraternities or sororities, but that's something that most people are either invited to, and there's so many other social aspects of campus life that if you're not involved in Greek life, you're not gonna feel excluded.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about that social life, or what social life is like on the weekends?
Yeah, so on the weekends, there's definitely something for everybody. There's this residence hall called the Fred, and they hold a lot of fun, like wholesome events on the weekends. And most people just like to hang out with their friends. So some of those events included, like last year, I remember there was like a cheesecake and vine watching event. Just like random like self-care nights, stuff like that. So really whatever your forte is, you're gonna have a lot of fun with your friends on the weekends.
That's so fun. Does Trinity have any unique traditions?
I think as part of the induction ceremony into the college, we all sit on the quad up here. They have a bunch of chairs lined out for the whole class. And one of the first things that you do is you take a sip of lemonade with the president, Joanne Berger-Sweeney. And that's just been a tradition like since the college started. And then once you graduate too, you get that same lemonade and take a sip from it. So it's just one of those random weird induction traditions.
Oh, it looks like we're coming up on the library. So how
are.
late do your libraries stay open?
So this is our main library, and parts of this library stays open 24/7, but some parts just are open during the day. Whenever you kind of need to access the library, though, there are parts that will be open whenever you want.
So are the libraries social or silent?
So they go from social on the ground level to silent on the top. So on the top you could hear a pin drop, but on the bottom it's more like collaborative work that's done. And so I find myself usually on the more social collaborative level, but when I really need to grind and get my work done on my own, you'll find me on the top floor.
Very nice. So what's your favorite study spot?
I'd say my favorite study spot is on the second floor, where there's a table that we call the swim team table. It's not a formalized swim team table, but all of us will go there, especially last year, and just get a lot of our work done all together. So it's a social aspect, but we're also like getting our work done at the same time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what's your typical class size?
I'd say my typical class size goes from anywhere from like 10 to 15 or 20 students, just because of my majors. One of the largest classes I've been in is probably my econ class this semester, that has about 30 students in it, but class sizes are typically really small, which makes it really nice because they feel very personalized.
Oh, that's so nice. So how many hours of sleep do you typically get a night being at a college like Trinity?
I would say I typically get about 6 to 7 hours of sleep each night, but I do have friends like Avery here, who always average around 8 to 10 hours. So it all just comes down to managing your work efficiently. Yeah.
So what's your best tip for juggling social life, school, and swim?
I would say knowing your schedule, and it always helps me to be able to write it down. That always helps me to manage my academics and swimming, especially, and also with going in with the expectation that during swim season things will be a little bit more busy, yeah, otherwise just knowing your schedule, and being proactive.
It's very good. So like, what do people typically wear to class?
I'd say you could wear anything to class. This is a pretty standard outfit for me, but otherwise you could also just see me wearing sweatpants and a huge sweatshirt to class. Nobody ever gives you really a second look. Whatever you're wearing, it doesn't really matter.
So how big is Trinity School Spirit?
I'd say our school spirit is pretty big, especially in relation to the other NESCAC schools. most students here are proud to be bantams.
How much do you walk a day, speaking of?
I would say the longest walk I have to do is only about 10 minutes across campus. So from the from our residence hall all the way back there that we started at, to a building just behind that tree over there. So it's only about a 10-minute walk, which is the longest.
That's
that I
nice.
have to
That's
do,
not bad
so-
at all.
Yeah, not bad.
So how many kids use skateboards, scooters, or like bikes to get around on campus?
I'd say a small number of students, just because Trinity is a smaller campus, so it's all within walking distance of each other. Even on rainy days, you'll just see people walking around with umbrellas or in their rain jackets. So
Yeah. So what would you say the typical vibe is on campus? Give us the vibe.
what's the vibe? I'd say most people are usually just have somewhere to go or somewhere to be. So most people will either be walking from classes or walking to the dining hall. Campus is usually always like bustling, always pretty active, just because students are involved in a lot of things. So you'll either see them walking into Ferris, like our athletic center, or rushing to class, or even just like sitting on the quad and studying with their friends. So I'd say the vibe is pretty active and engaged.
So what's the typical temperature during winter? How cold can it get here?
I would say it can get about like 10 or 15 degrees in the very cold of winter. But typically we're on training trip when it gets that cold, so we're like somewhere very warm, and then we get back and only have to really experience that cold for about a month or so. So I wouldn't say it's too bad.
Are there any snow days?
I have not experienced a snow day, but I have heard of days that it just was too icy for people to walk to class, so it had to be canceled, but it is pretty rare.
What is your essential item you bring to campus when you're moving in?
I would say probably just my laptop, just because I do everything from that, especially now being virtual. But it just is very useful for all our classes.
So how often do you leave campus?
This year we don't, but usually last year we would be able to go into West Hartford, where there's some nice restaurants. You get to walk around. It's a really nice little town. So this year, just because of COVID, we don't. But usually, like, I would leave like maybe once or twice every week or so, just to go into that little town of West Hartford.
Do you feel safe walking through campus at night?
Yes, but it always, just as a female anywhere in our world today, I would say it is always safe to just walk with a friend. But there have been instances where I have walked across campus alone, and just because of campus security, I never feel at risk.
Oh, that's so nice. Do most people live on or off campus?
So most people live on campus for all 4 years, especially just because these are our crescent houses, which is where seniors mostly live with 8 to 9 friends. So they don't really feel the need to live off campus. So yeah, I mean, on campus usually for all 4 years.
How close is the nearest airport if I'm coming in from out of state and I need to go home?
It's only about a 15-minute drive, so it's about as far as West Hartford is from the campus, I believe.
That's so nice. Very
I believe.
convenient. Who is your favorite Trinity alumni?
I can't think of any off the top of my head except Sammy Adams, so I'm gonna have to say Sammy Adams.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. How often do you see your president?
Our
the college.
Of the college, yeah. Joanne Berger-Sweeney is always walking around campus. I have seen her like maybe once or twice this year, and it's only October. She lives on campus, so you can see her walking around pretty often. And you can always get in touch with her if you do need to.
I have a very interesting question next.
Okay.
Do you think you've met a future millionaire?
Ooh, I would definitely say so. I've met some really brilliant minds here, that I wouldn't doubt that they will be successful in the future, like Avery.
Is your school academically competitive, or do other students just help each other out?
I'd say it's academically competitive, but at the same time, like, you definitely make friends within your classes that you're all going to push each other to succeed and to study together. Your classes that you're in are kind of like these little like built-in study groups that you form, which is really nice because it's such a tight-knit community.
It's very nice. Do most graduates leave with jobs?
Yes, definitely. Our Bantam network is really strong, especially with alumni that want to just see Trinity students graduate and succeed.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We're at the Ferris now, which is our athletic center. If you walk right in, there's our pool. We sadly can't go in right now, but we spend a lot of time here together, which is really nice.
Yeah. If you could change one thing about your school, what would it be?
I would say I wish that our school was a little bit closer to that town area of West Hartford. It is a short drive away, but it would just be more convenient if it were a little bit closer. But we are still able to access it, which is nice.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
So what's your number one tip for success at Trinity?
I would say be able to manage your time. Just goes back to one of our other questions, especially being like a student athlete. Knowing your priorities are going to be class and then your athletics, so you don't want your grades to slip. But you can say, if you stay on top of your schedule, you'll be able to definitely succeed in both.
That's very good. What's your favorite place on campus?
I'd say my favorite place is the quad, which is up there by the chapel, especially on some nice spring days. You can see so many people just sitting out with their friends on picnic blankets, playing games, and just enjoying time together. So especially on nice days, I love to sit on the quad, just read a book, hang out with some friends.
Very good. I agree. What have your dorms been like then?
Freshman year, I lived in a split double. So I had a random roommate, and it was pretty nice. It was like having my own single. And this year I live in high rise with Avery and then two other girls who aren't on the swim team. And we live in a traditional quad, so we have our own common room, we each have our own individual room, and we have our own bathroom. So it's been pretty nice, and I'm actually one of the RAs of high rise this year.
On average, how many hours would you say you have of homework each day?
I would say, depending on how well I manage my time, it could be anywhere from about like 2 to 4 hours. And that's definitely considering spacing out time to do big projects, and presentations and midterms coming up. So as long as I manage my time well, it would never really be over about 4 hours. But that also doesn't include studying.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, thanks, Abe.
Do you have any jobs on campus?
I do. I actually work at the writing center, so I'm a writing associate. I work only about like 4 to 5 hours a week, and that is all online now because of COVID, but usually we would work right in the writing center at the English building. So that is one of my jobs. I mentioned I'm an RA, and yeah, those are my 2 jobs on campus.
What is the environment of the swim team like?
Our environment of the swim team is so inclusive, so welcoming. Everybody really just wants to have a good time and make each other better, and the motivation that I get from that is truly uncomparable, I think, to any other team.
That's amazing.
I know, I really love it.
Rachel, I have really sad news.
What is it?
We don't have any more questions left.
Oh no!
Do you have any last thoughts?
Do? I would definitely encourage you to look at Trinity and consider it, just because of how great an environment both the academics and athletics are. I can't imagine myself at any other school, and I really don't think it's comparable to anywhere else. It's a great place to be.
That's amazing.
Thanks, Abe.
We'll see you later, Rachel.
Bye.